Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Go ahead, hit the like, hit the share. This video is just going to be a sum up of everything that's going on when it comes to our good old justice system. See, strangely, TMZ broke the exclusive that R. Kelly's bond was denied yesterday. And it's funny, they knew this before it happened. But hey, I kind of saw this coming. Let me tell you why. Let's go back to when Miss Valencia Love bailed R. Kelly out. And people made this big deal about this, him paying her back situation. Remember, she made a point to, or somebody saying it's her, made a point to come out and say that it wasn't her money. So that would leave room to speculate for some people that it's R. Kelly's money. So it seems like to me, this is what gives them the pretense that R. Kelly is funneling money through other people. But never mind the pre-hearing report that recommends that Mr. Kelly should be allowed a bond. Never mind that. We're going to violate R. Kelly's rights based on the prosecution's suspicions. They don't produce anything that would substantiate their claims that he's a flight risk or that he's a danger to his community. Yet, they have denied his bond. And so many people I've watched have instantly gotten discouraged. But let me bring you to one story first, and then I'll get back into my commentary. Because some of you may be confused, as I keep telling you. This is a spiritual battle. So just because things are not going the way you think they should in your sight, doesn't mean things are not working in good favor. And even if things don't work in your favor, we all know that God works in mysterious ways, and who are we to question his ways?
Let my people go. Slaves are mine. Their lives are mine. All that they own is mine. I do not know your God, nor will I let Israel go.
Now, I just wanted to put that little part in there for this specific reason. As I see people in their moments of discouragement, let me just say this. As much as we continue to preach about how we just want to get a fair trial for R. Kelly, we have to continue to believe and have faith in the moves we make. Granted, no one should be expecting their tweets and anything they're doing on social media alone to be helping R. Kelly. But I encourage anybody who knows people in the political field to reach out to people such as myself. And we can put together a plan of action based on people who are privy to information, such as putting laws into place to prevent things like this from happening in the future. Let me just pause right here for a second. Now, for some strange reason, we're in a day of age where people are pushing this. When people do you wrong and or abuse you, instead of reporting this to the proper people, we're going to take matters into our own hands. So now we have people like this so-called do-it-yourself rape kit founder who is now pushing this so-called rape kit for people to, instead of going to the police if they're being assaulted, try to collect evidence themselves. So at this particular point, you got people issuing her a cease and desist, because what this is doing is, again, encouraging people to take law into their own hands instead of doing things correctly, filing police reports, getting professionals involved. Now, as I go back to Exodus, I come back to what I feel, and that is, more and more I'm realizing when we put out specific information, and you got those people that hate R. Kelly, they don't come at you and combat with any facts or anything they research. They come at you with all the generic answers that were given to them through this fake ass docuseries. They can never tell you logically why it's okay to violate R. Kelly's constitutional right just because they feel he is guilty of a crime. Regardless of what they feel, you still have rights as a citizen. And it's not for anybody to pick and choose who they're going to select to give those rights to. Now, what's odd is when TMZ first broke the news about R. Kelly's bond being denied, what they came to this conclusion was based on what they got from the prosecutor in a letter. And what's odd about this, as you can see at the top, let's zoom in, it clearly says to be filed under seal. So doesn't that mean all this information is supposed to be sealed? Again, why are they leaking all this information to the media? Ask yourself that question. Because again, they're trying to taint public's opinion. Is that the justice system? Then you got TMZ, of course. Nobody finds it odd that they broke this story before the judge made her decision. And let's go back to the pretrial hearing report. Because according to the prosecutors, they feel he's a flight risk.
The idea that there should be a set of conditions by which he could fashion a remedy that Mr. Kelly could be out on bond with obviously no danger to the community, and there's no risk of flight for Mr. Kelly. He's not going anywhere, and he's not in danger of the community because these allegations are 10 to 15, 20 years old. So we're hopeful that with the support of pretrial services, he's issued a report saying it's appropriate for Mr. Kelly to be released. We're hopeful that Judge Lyman will grace with us, and we're going to take that shot on the 18th or 19th when he reconsiders.
So never mind that they're getting reports saying that he's not a flight risk. He's not a danger to the community. There is no reason why he should not be granted bond. Then you want to sit back and watch how they manipulate the public yet again by trying to make it seem like, well, he's getting all these royalties, he's filtering money, so he's definitely got to be trying to make an escape. But anybody with common sense know that when the FBI pick up a charge such as racketeering, they're going to freeze your accounts. They're going to put some money on hold, you know. So with that being said, this is what I'm trying to get you to understand. They don't want this man to have a proper defense. They piled all these cases on him as a diversion, as maybe even a scare tactic, because as you could recall a few articles back, they were trying to get him to take a plea deal, which is what they generally do in situations when you're not fortunate enough to have an attorney. That's what they do, try to get you to take a plea. They don't care if you're innocent. They're going to spin it to you. It's going to be in your best interest to take that plea. And people are so slow, they're not realizing that the purpose in them bringing all these cases was to, again, create confusion. So even if he does get a bond over here, they can deny it over here. And they could issue a CAPIS like they did in Minnesota and pick him up if he does get a bond because he has a CAPIS. Like, they did all this purposefully. This was all tactful. So I would just say, for those that are easily discouraged, I would stop looking at the news report and I would just wait until after the trial, maybe even, because this is what you're going to have to realize. There are a lot of innocent people in jail right now. And soon after this Me Too movement takes full effect, there are going to be a lot more in jail. But we got to get a plan together to put a stop to it. We got to get in touch with the right people. It's election season. Hey, we need to figure out who's going to be coming up with these policies to shut this Me Too shit down. We need to figure out who knows more about these laws that are said to have been broken. Because we have the parents talking about they have given R. Kelly permission to take their child across state lines, but yet you're charging him for sex trafficking. So how are you going to prove that the only motive for him moving these girls is for sex? Not them freely choosing to travel with them. But let's go on to other news because, as I said, we see injustice all around us, all around us. It's not just about R. Kelly. Let's just talk about injustice in general, and let's just point out how clear some people are on a more fortunate side of the justice system than others. I almost forgot before I switch gears and go to another topic. Let's go back to the reason the prosecutors are saying R. Kelly was denied bond. The hearing focused on Kelly's purported money woes, with defense attorney Steve Greenberg claiming his client does not have great financial resources. The lawyer, in recounting the fiscal lunacy surrounding Kelly, detailed an associate offering a $3 million Vatican-backed surety bond that was signed in blood when the singer surrendered to Chicago police this past February. A surety bond that was signed in blood. What? That sounds odd, but okay. These are the kind of people Robert has relied on for his business, said Greenberg. But prosecutors countered that Kelly's claim of indigence was phony and noted the defendant continues to receive hundreds of thousands of dollars in royalties including one check for almost $800,000 in April 2019 and another for almost $100,000 a few months later. But we're not going to count into consideration how they have been protesting, boycotting, muting him, bringing him back and forth to court for this child support. We're not going to take into consideration none of that, none of his lawyer fees that obviously have to be paid. The government's investigation has revealed that earlier this year, the defendant redirected those funds into the bank account of a childhood friend. Prosecutors allege his lack of candor with the court regarding his financial resource is another factor that counsels against release. So again, we don't hear that he's a danger to society. We hear speculations that he could have some money. So because he could have some money, it's right to keep him as a political prisoner. Greenberg said the bank account using the name of Kelly's pal was launched after a $400,000 check to his client was seized. As I pointed out earlier in the video, anybody that knows anything about when the feds come in, especially on a racketeering charge, they finna freeze some assets and some money. So, as I said, maybe this was the only way they could put some money aside for his legal defense. So are you telling me that they're going to use that against him as reasons to hold him in jail because he's trying to prepare to fight these bogus charges? This is just absurd. So let's move on, because people just sitting here acting like our judicial system is just so great. Let's go to the next trending topic.
Amber Guyger has been sentenced to 10 years in prison, a day after being found guilty in the murder of her neighbor Botham Jean. You'll recall Guyger thought she was in her apartment when she shot him, but in fact, she was inside his home. CBS News correspondent Omar Villafranca is at the courthouse. Omar, is this the sentence that prosecutors had been seeking?
Elaine, to put it plainly, no, it's not. During closing arguments, the prosecution was saying their range for the jury was 5 years to 99 years. And they were saying at the minimum, they were hoping the jury would come back for 28 years as a prison sentence for Amber Guyger. 28 years because they say Botham Jean would be 28 years old today. Of course, they were also hoping for more than that. But when they read 10 years, there was a little bit of an outburst that people heard outside of the courtroom. In fact, there was some activists who were upset, who started chanting, "No justice, no peace." We're waiting for the family, the Jean family, to come out and start talking to us to give us their feelings. But just seeing some of the reactions from the family is a little bit telling. Alyssa Findlay, who is Botham Jean's sister, who talked during the trial, she actually had her face in her hands and was sobbing, and some family members were coming to basically console her. Mind you, in a span of 24 hours, the former police officer who killed her brother was found guilty of murder. There was bittersweet tears there, but now they're learning she's only going to serve 10 years in prison. So obviously a little bit of shock for the family.
All right, and an incredibly...
Strangely, a police officer can barge into her neighbor's, quote unquote, neighbor's apartment, murder him, and say, "Oh, I thought it was a burglar." Like, what person goes into a house and not recognize, and this is a police officer, and not recognize that you ain't in your own house? You mean to tell me you walk a couple steps in a building, you can't recognize your own house? And at the time, I believe he was the only one that had a rug in front of his apartment door. So it was very noticeable. But since that Pictures had surfaced of her and him, so it could lead one to speculate they had a relationship. But nonetheless, while she awaited her trial, she got a bond for murder. I didn't even know they gave you bonds for that. But she got a bond. And she got a whole lot of people's forgiveness for this so-called mistake she made. But let's go on. And we sat back and we did the whole Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter, hashtag, stop shooting us. We did all that. But guess what? Nothing was accomplished. The thing is, people fail to realize we are often pacified by certain things, but nothing is ever accomplished. So let's go back. Because my biggest issue with Mute R. Kelly is their claim to want to care about brown girls. But if I do recall, at the height of them and their Mute R. Kelly bullshit, there was a little girl. Not a little girl. There was a teenage girl by the name of Kenneka Jenkins that went viral because she was missing. Everybody came out being the little detectives. All these videos. You had the activists come out. All these people. I ain't seen no Mute R. Kelly standing up for Kenneka Jenkins and trying to get to the bottom of what happened to her. And to this day, there still is no real answer as to what happened to her. But this lady put certain things out in the media, but no one caught it. Instead, these so-called activists want to sit around here and act like they care about the community, but they don't.
I had several people tell me they lost sleep. Do you know how much the fuck I lost? My baby gone! Your kid's still here. And if your mama, I pray to God have mercy on your soul. Or if your daddy, I pray to God have mercy on your soul. Because you bastards. I pray you never experience what I got to go through. When you know that your baby could have possibly been saved. Because your skin color. I was too dark for them people to help me. I try to keep peaceful.
You see how they flipped it? Mute R. Kelly, in the moment, they could have helped a real brown girl. They decided to flip the narrative, talking about nobody cares about the brown girl. But this dark-skinned, beautiful woman was down there trying to get answers, trying to save her child's life, and nobody gave a damn. Nobody. Instead, this hotel put together all these bogus clips, edited clips, to feed to the public, to make it seem this girl was so out of it that maybe she led to her own demise. And people eventually stopped caring. And while this girl was never given justice, Mute R. Kelly wants to tell us nobody cares about our brown girls. Imagine that.
y'all want to be. Take it the side y'all want to be. But y'all, if y'all think about it, y'all should be thanking me. Because in the hood, we can't party without somebody getting killed or somebody getting shot or running for our lives. So we figure if we go in these nice neighborhoods, we safe. Kanika was not new to no hotel privilege. Ever since Lenore was 5 years old, well, I say 6, I did my kids' hotel parties or motel parties. Because I knew it wasn't no gun violence. Hell yeah, the hood is messed up. I'm not in denial of that. But when I came to CP and I asked them for help, and not only that, when I asked what happened to my child when I received that phone call at 4:34 in the morning, and at 4:30 in the morning, I heard a story. And then I heard a person respond and say, "No, fuck that shit. I'm ready to go." And you a friend? You said, "No, fuck that shit." When I asked y'all, please wait on my fight back. But when I saw that you was Rudy, and I saw that if you keep harming on, if they bring up charges against us, my color, if they bring up charges and say you did this, you did that, when I'm hearing you say this Rudy outburst, why, of course, I'm trying to keep peace because it ain't your daughter. It was my daughter that was missing. It was my daughter that I didn't know until 4:34 in the morning that she was missing. And when the person called me, they told me, "Mom, they mad at me because they didn't want me to call you and tell you that your daughter was missing." And then when I asked them, you didn't tell me now, Tab, that my daughter, y'all had her phone. But when I told y'all, please don't leave my baby. And when I heard a bastard say, "No, fuck that shit. I'm ready to go," why, of course, I knew. We had our heads in the lion's mouth. And
So, to sum that basically up, this lady tried to use the media to get a real story out there that nobody gave a shit about. It was all about who can be the next Inspector Gadget on the internet. And we still don't know to this day what happened to her. So it takes me back to watching Dominique Gardner's mother in this fake rescue scene in Surviving R. Kelly. You mean to tell me this lady from Chicago who's looking for her missing daughter, she can't even get these people to look at the cameras without police? But you expect me to believe Dominique Gardner's mother was able to get up to this girl's room and so-called rescue her? Oh, only for her to go back. It just makes no sense. All these people that come to my channel with all this hate, what I want to say to you is, how are you any better than the people you call abusers? When you get on your computer and you take the time to say, "Oh, I sound so stupid. People that support him support pedophiles." Clearly, if you shut the fuck up and listen, you will hear more likely than not, more people are simply saying he deserves a fair trial, just like anybody else deserves a fair trial. Now, if they have the evidence that all these people say they have, guess what? They should have a clear-cut case. But the fact that they put all these cases just to cloud up this justice system and to keep having this back and forth with a bond hearing and not being able to properly meet with his counsel to defend himself, what do you expect? And then you got the tabloids saying he's denied conjugal visits. So of course you got people in a uproar thinking all this man is still thinking about his sex. So let me just take a little more time because I already know how the comments are gonna go. I'm finna go on and address the shit y'all finna say. Cause the shit y'all say is the same shit y'all say every fucking video I put out. So let's get this shit over with. Number one, oh, but R. Kelly married Aaliyah. Hold that thought. Now, first thing, let's knock out this one. So this one was the first marriage certificate that was printed in the Vibe magazine. And since y'all want to bring up the Vibe magazine, you cannot ignore the fact that the same person that was working for the Vibe magazine, Dream Hampton, is the same person that came out with this Surviving R. Kelly bullshit. So she decided, oh, let me go ahead and further push the narrative that I already planted all those years ago, that R. Kelly married Aaliyah. So that's going to be the green light as to why people will relate to the fact that they will believe he is a pedophile. So let's go to what the blast had to show us, because this was the one in Vibe, even though you see it's piss poor, whoever created this bullshit, no. But you can see, if you go back and pull back that article, you will see how counterfeit that certificate looks. So then you got the blast coming out with this certificate of marriage. Notice how different that looks? But, you know what's wrong with it? Still counterfeit. Look at this void. Look at how the void is. Like, it's minor details all over this bullshit where you can clearly see it's counterfeit. But let's look at a real marriage certificate, because as you can see, and you can Google it your fucking self, Barack Obama and Michelle's marriage certificate is posted online, and they were married in Chicago, Illinois. So clearly this is a Chicago, Illinois marriage certificate. What a real marriage certificate looks like. Please tell me what the fuck y'all talking about with this bullshit. Look at the difference. There we go. Okay, so stop coming at me with that goddamn bullshit. And third of all, how you gonna sit here and come to me talking about R. Kelly married Aaliyah when she was underage? Well, if that were the case, if he married a woman that was underage, then that marriage would be invalid. There would be no need to get annulment. So what sense are y'all making when y'all say this? And then look where the information comes from. You want to tell me that this man who has never shown these documents, I ain't never seen nobody, feel free, if anybody knows where these annulment documents are, please drop that link below. I'll be waiting, because I ain't never seen those documents. All these people are going by Jim DeRogatis' word. And you're going to have to excuse me if I don't find nothing he says credible, considering this is the same guy who refused to testify against R. Kelly in his first trial, but yet had so much time to write so many articles and a book. So let's move on. The next thing, the sex tape. Okay, you got a tape that was stolen from Lisa Van Allen, passed through multiple hands, given to a Photoshop technician, whatever she want to call herself, passed on to Barry Hankerson, passed on to Jim DeRogatis, who lets Sparkle watch the tape. Like, do we see how many hands this tape has passed through. But never mind the fact that this is allegedly child porn and nobody is supposed to be watching it. So never mind the fact that nobody took it to the police. And never mind the fact that nobody is going to get charged for distributing this child porn and even being the cause to this child porn being available to the public. We're going to forget all that. We're just going to go after R. Kelly. Not only that, we're gonna use a real pedophiles network to do the shit. We're gonna go on Lifetime, which is affiliated with Disney. Bob, yep, same person that got those child molestation allegations. Same person that has been linked to Harvey Weinstein and who is now fighting with Harvey Weinstein. And I'm supposed to take the word from known extortionist who was caught tweeting, and I quote, "You are a fucking moron. Setting up the golden goose was the easiest thing to do. You have no idea my level of involvement. He's seen and treated as a pedophile. Kim Fox will win office again to do the takedown of the predator. Go fuck yourself." So, you want me to believe that the person who's being called out by Nike, who has their own federal extortion charges, happens to have credible evidence against R. Kelly? And we just gonna bypass the stalker who stalked his last trial, who was admitted into the courthouse to view this child porn, which means she had to have an ID. But hey, we're gonna add her into this indictment against him because we need anybody we can get who will fit the storyline. Never mind her mom's right there with her encouraging this bullshit behavior. Then you got attorneys such as Gloria Allred coaching all these so-called witnesses to speak out. However, why doesn't she keep that same energy for Harvey Weinstein when she's been accused of asking his accusers to stay silent? Never mind that Miss Gloria Allred is now facing bar investigations for alleged misconduct. Well, maybe shit like that will happen when you spend your whole career extorting money from celebrities. And if you don't believe me, go check her track record. She had her hands in Tiger Woods. Like she's been around. She's been around. And she's gotten a lot of people, a lot of settlements. And she even had a part in the release of a couple serial rapists in Chicago. But hey, that's okay. Long as she get her money off these celebrities, right? See, I had to go back and watch that again. That's why I just can't with these people. They just want to put out certain comments to the public. And we got a whole lot of slow people out here that just are like sponges. They have absolutely no thought process by themselves. So by her saying, "Oh, it's prison, it's not supposed to be a spa, a luxurious spot," like, how does wanting to see the people that you consider your domestic partners now making it seem you want special privileges? If you don't have any family and you only have a handful of people that would qualify to see you, Why would it be necessary for this lady to get up here and give the impression like he's expecting special privileges just to see the people he loves? This man has been held captive for two months now. You're telling me he doesn't have the right to visit with the people who love him? Absurd. Again, it's amazing to me how they're demonstrating to me and all of you that R. Kelly at this point has been convicted by the public and has no rights. What kind of world do we live in? I can't take none of these people serious when they're saying R. Kelly is being held without bond because he so-called tampered with witnesses, when you have the very person who has built their whole career hounding R. Kelly's so-called abuse allegations, saying on record the girls Kelly had seduced were more willing to settle than to testify. So, because they were more willing to seek out these attorneys and try to get money out of R. Kelly, they are now going to try and flip the scenario and say that R. Kelly is tampering with the witnesses. How does that make sense? You got Susan B. Logans, who has represented maybe 4 of the first victims. Then you got Michael Avenatti and what's her name? Gloria Allred picking up the rest. These 3 attorneys are picking up these women, and people don't recognize. For you to sit here and tell me this man has had a 20-year-long history of abuse, the only women you can come up with are the women who have sought out attorneys, who did not file any police reports, who are on record saying they were sexually abused by other people, but fuck them. We're just gonna focus on R. Kelly. This is what we're at. Then you got the person who got it kicked off with the sex cults, the Savages. If you go back and do a little research, you'll come to find out it's odd that they're saying their daughter was in a sex cult, but the very video they first put out with them having an intervention with their daughter in December 2016, she's saying how she had an affair with another man and was being brushed off by R. Kelly. So how is she being held captive if R. Kelly at that time wasn't giving her the time of day? Which would give one to assume that obviously she was doing whatever necessary to get back in his good grace. Is that something that rubbed Tim Savage the wrong way? Maybe. You keep hearing him talk about how R. Kelly's saying that he can't see his daughter. He can't see his daughter. They can't have communication with them, but who are they having these conversations with? They can't see their daughter until it's not time to see their daughter. He's not playing the role R. Kelly wants him to play. That's why he can't see his daughter. For you stupid people on the short bus that want to come at me talking about what about the parents? If I thought my damn child was in fucking danger, I'm going to say whatever a motherfucker want to hear to get my child out of that situation. I'm not going to stick my chest out and try to show him who's bad and then call the media and say this man is holding my fucking child hostage. Then post pictures of the man sleep. But hey, who got the phone? Ain't nobody supposed to have no phones, remember? People want to keep telling me the stuff coming out of Jim DeRogatis' book. Well, guess what? One of the so-called victims says that her story in his book are lies. Guess what? She want to be the only person lying about her story. Who the fuck is Jim DeRogatis to be sitting over here getting this credit? The fuck? Then you got this grown-ass woman. Again, people keep talking about, why you keep talking about these grown women? We're worried about the children. Well, when you fucking find me a child that has been preyed on by R. Kelly, then I could talk about that. Okay? As far as the sex tape, I already know it's coming. You can go back to the old articles and come to the conclusion. Let's read it. Let's read it. As R. Kelly and his legal team gear up to combat a new slate of sex tape footage, details of what appears on the tapes are tapes. Y'all see that? Tapes. Zoom in. Tapes. That's plural. Are emerging, which triggered an alleged past victim to speak out. Lisa Van Allen, who allegedly appeared on the first infamous sex tape, says that the acts depicted on the new tape sound similar to her ordeal. So, y'all don't really think it's possible that that girl on that tape was Lisa Van Allen? At the top, you can see a little bit of that so-called image. In the middle, you have Lisa Van Allen. You see her hairstyle? Let's go on to the bottom. You see her hairstyle? It looks a little bit similar. But I tell you what, from the time period at which Rashana is supposed to have her hair in this style, I could tell you, I didn't see that. The only pictures I see with her in the age range that Sparkle is claiming she was, 13, 14, her hair was in braids. Period. A second person that was named but was not a witness in the first trial who should be subpoenaed, this so-called Minnesota victim, Adelina Prado, who goes by the name of Cuban Bird, though, on Instagram. And it clearly says that Damon Van Allen was letting the defense know back then that she was involved in the threesomes with Lisa Van Allen. Then there's another girl who sued R. Kelly, saying she was in the sex tape, by the name of Montina Woods. Look it up. It's funny, all these women were in the sex tape, but Sparkle, Barry Hankerson, Jim DeRogatis, Keith and Chuck, and Charles Freeman, whatever his name is, they want to give the impression that it's Rashonda Landfair. But the last thing I want to put on your mind before I close this video is this. Hypothetically speaking, if it was Rashonda Landfair, do you people that hate R. Kelly know that it is a violation of her rights, if she was a victim, for you all to be blasting her the way you are? Did you ever think about that? No child is supposed to be named when it comes to sexual abuse. But yet, it seems to me the reason why her name was leaked to the public is because she wouldn't play along with Sparkle and the rest. So, as a way to humiliate her, they put her name out there in the public. And that's my opinion. While she's trying to move forward and live her best life, people keep trying to make her a victim. Even Drea Kelly, all of them, they were cool with everything they were doing. Everything. Being on the stage, being in the videos, being in the bedroom, being in the private videos, whatever they were doing, they were down with it. So my problem is, I don't endorse any woman who decides to lower their standards for any man and then feel like it's okay to claim to be a victim because they didn't stand on their morals. All these people are connected. And all these so-called accusers have their own agendas. And that's making money off their lies. It's odd to me how everybody can sit here and look at R. Kelly as this pedophile because he likes younger women. Like they don't know 50-year-old men who date 18, 19-year-old women. If you don't, you might need to come to the South, because you will see a whole lot. The same people that are so quick to point the blame on R. Kelly are the same people that may have their own guilty conscience.
Kelly props for one thing and one thing only. Two things. Number one, he taught me how to eat ass. Shout out to Kelly. I learned how to eat ass because of the R. Kelly thing. That's true. And the Come Pete Come thing is still one of the most legendary, incredible things I've ever seen in my life. I still don't understand how a man could come and then pee right after coming and then come again. That happened. Wait, that happened? He busted a nut on this little 14-year-old girl. Then he peed on me like it was like the.
Look how excited he is talking about that. That's just fucking weird. And they want to use this clown to get on Surviving R. Kelly and talk about R. Kelly. Never mind the fact that he's a whole rapist and he drugged and raped 15-year-old Jessica Reed. You can find her on Instagram. Justice for Closure, if you really want to support real sexual assault victims, try supporting her. And just for those that want to sit here and call Jessica Reed a liar, here go the documents. She has no problem showing you all, unlike these Surviving R. Kelly victims, she has the paperwork to prove when this incident happened, she went to the police department. She filed police reports. And the only reason he signed a plea deal and got a lesser charge is because her mother would not allow her to testify. And to this day, she's trying to figure out a way to get her case reopened because she would like to get justice. But guess what? Surviving R. Kelly would have rather spin this fairy tale lie about these fake accusers and give her rapist the platform to gloat. And we all recall Miss Tia Ewing. She has so much negative things to say about R. Kelly. Well, let's see what she has to say about Kim Fox, the prosecutor who maliciously prosecuted R. Kelly, who solicited victims against R. Kelly, who, according to Geronda Pace, would not listen to her before the docuseries came out. Last time I checked, when a prosecutor is accused of misconduct and things like that, all of the cases they've handled are supposed to go under review. But for some strange reason, they have made it clear they are not going to investigate any of her other cases. I wonder why.
Of events, Special Prosecutor Dan Webb says that he never met Kim Fox, never had a conversation with Kim Fox, but her attorney contacted him just a few days ago to remind him of a campaign contribution that he made 3 years ago, and here's the check to prove it.
I have to go where the facts go, and I cannot let politics dictate where I go and how I make decisions.
Perhaps Dan Webb did forget the facts. This is from electionsil.gov. It shows who made campaign donations and to who. You see it right there, a $1,000 donation to Cook County State's Attorney Kim Fox.
I intend to expedite everything, but the facts will take me where they take me.
Special Prosecutor Dan Webb is supposed to be investigating if Fox handled or mishandled the Jussie Smollett case, but now he's in the hot seat. Here's the problem. You see this flyer as Exhibit 2, as now a status hearing has been scheduled to decide if a reappointment of another special prosecutor is necessary because of a conflict of interest. Attorney Webb claims he had no recollection of ever making a political contribution to Kim Fox or meeting her. The campaign fundraiser for Fox was held on October 13th of 2016, and even says Dan Webb was one of the hosts at the law firm he is a co-executive and chairman of. This check, dated for October 12th, 2016, is from the special prosecutor's checking account for a $1,000 donation to Fox's campaign. And Kim Fox is responding to all of this. We got this statement not too long ago. It reads in part, Mr. Webb was notified that same day, and my office continues to cooperate fully with the investigation. Now, what is next? A status hearing will happen on October 4th. The special prosecutor, he could recuse himself, or another special prosecutor could be assigned to this case. Live from in front of Kim Fox's...
So as we can see, all of these people that have had their hand in the case against R. Kelly have their hand in a whole lot of cases of misconduct. The prosecutor, the attorneys. What kind of justice system do we have? We have another mother from Chicago who couldn't get nobody to really help her get justice for her child. Meanwhile, you had plenty of activists try to pop up and throw off the public. You got Jim DeRogatis talking as he normally does, in which he says, 2 investigators in New York told me they were frustrated that Fox had rushed her charges and that her office was not cooperating with them, DeRogatis writes. I wonder why. I'll tell you why. Because they know, just like we all know, this whole case is corrupted. Period. No matter how you splice it and sugarcoat it. And people sitting here coming for the people that support R. Kelly simply because we think that he's not getting a fair trial, that his due process has been hijacked, that he is a political prisoner right about now, and that he is not being treated fairly. Clearly, Kim Fox is getting a lot of donations from the Democrats who are very much in support of this Me Too movement. You want to know why? Because it takes the shift of focus off of the real pedophiles and sexual abusers. So considering all these people are corrupted, how can you in good conscience still continue to comment the hateful things you say? If you are so confident this man is guilty, why is it necessary to seek out his supporters and say such abusive things? Last time I checked, no sin was greater than the next. So who are you and what makes you better? Something to think about. So just going back and talking about the injustice as a whole, because we just keep seeing it replayed in different scenarios over and over, whether it's us watching someone get murdered live on Facebook, or it's us seeing people get mistreated and somebody starting a protest because of it, or a new hashtag because someone was murdered or somebody was unjustly incarcerated. We see this trend of injustice over and over. And I like this one comment that someone sent me, so I'll share it with you. His comment says, "It ain't even about the justice system. It's about our reaction to it." Our reaction to it. See, a lot of people will sit here and get all excited because R. Kelly is in jail, but what is that going to do for y'all? Really? Y'all hate him that much. Y'all want him in jail, but what is that going to accomplish? It's girls still missing, come up missing every single day, especially in Chicago. Who's putting together a plan of action? Anyways, he's referring to the cop that killed the guy, Mr. Botham. She's getting sympathy from the same black people who want R. Kelly to rot in jail forever. R. Kelly ain't killed nobody. In fact, them lying ass women came up off his name, living their best life. I don't even associate myself with this new black America. We have zero understanding of cultural obligation. Everybody's soft and sensitive as hell. The vast majority is easily mind-fucked by mainstream media and throughout history. We never trusted mainstream media. Now the vast majority doesn't even do their own investigating or research. We just run with whatever they tell us nowadays. And you know what? Just to add to that, some of us, we don't even run with what they tell us. We'll see a thumbnail to an article, a thumbnail to a video, and see that caption and go ahead and get to typing and commenting and don't even know what the hell is going on. Reading is fundamental. And I came to the conclusion after reading a couple comments last night that some people ain't even watching the videos. They just jump straight in the comments. And I feel like those are trolls just trying to get reactions. So just so you know, if you are one of those that hate R. Kelly, you might get your comment on here and it might stay for a little while. But as soon as I give you a little bit of benefit of the doubt and try to talk to you with some sense, and as soon as I realize that you ain't about shit, I'm going to delete your shit and keep it pushing. Hate has no room on this channel. And if you can't sit there and look at the content and disagree and do like normal people would do, which is create their own content if you have such a problem, don't come to me like I'm finna sit here and entertain you. Okay? So, I know I said a lot tonight, but the main issue was it's gonna be all right. Stay focused. We all can link up. I'm pretty sure some of you know some attorneys. I'm pretty sure some of you know some activists. I'm pretty sure some of you know some law officials that could slide on over here and give us a little bit of advice or a little insight as to what they see about the case against R. Kelly from the outside looking in. Because as I said, it's election season. So if you don't think that you have a little bit of influence in getting some of these politicians to try to figure out some laws to prevent such injustice moving forward, all of this is going to be in vain. Keep in mind, there are a lot of people in jail, innocent. A lot of people who have been shown to be innocent. But guess what? The way our jail system works, once you're in jail, it's a long process to get out. So regardless of what happens in this case, just know this is the spiritual battle. Stay prayed up, stay in faith. Do not let the negativity overwhelm you. And have a good night.